All right. Hi, everyone. This is Aaron Skog. I'm the SWAN Executive Director. Each month we have a membership meeting we call SWAN Fireside Chat. I'll be hosting the meeting today for May 28th, 2024. Hope you all had a great Memorial Day weekend. We're going to have a whole team of folks at SWAN to talk about some topics coming up here. Let me advance this slide. So today we're going to talk about a Symphony 4.1 upgrade. I'm going to guess a lot of you have not gone through a Symphony upgrade with SWAN for a while. I want to say it has been some time since we've done one. So feel free to ask questions about that. Ian's going to go over that. And then we're going to have a series of project updates and then some cool stuff about Aspen. We have new releases every month. So we like to highlight what's going on with Aspen. If you're not familiar with what LIDA is our SWAN Libraries Plus app. And LIDA is the official name of it. We're going to talk about e-resources. We do have an update on the statewide e-resources acquisition, which if you're not aware of, we'll chat about, and then a resource sharing update. We have some user group meetings that have met. We'd like to recap those, and then some of the upcoming meetings. So Ian, let's have you talk about 4.1, Ian Nosek.
Sounds good. Excuse me. Good morning, everybody. I'm Ian Nosek. I'm the SWAN ITSS manager, IT and system support. If anybody has not already heard the ITSS. We will be undergoing a Symphony upgrade in a few weeks here. June 17th is the day that the installation will occur. That will happen overnight. Cersei Dynix has a few people who work in, I believe, our installers in New Zealand. So basically, he starts his day, he does our installation, and then everything generally goes very smoothly overnight. We have a pretty thorough checklist that we run through, and we've done this quite a few times. It doesn't take particularly long. Usually between 2 and 3 hours, the installation actually occurs. During this time, there will be no access to anything that utilizes web services and SIP2. So for instance, in the Aspen catalog or the LIDA app, my account features will not function. So being able to view your account, place holds, etc. Any electronic resources, they're using web services or SIP2, including SIP2 devices. But again, this will be overnight. So your Softschucks will be offline, but hopefully nobody will notice. So that's essentially what happens the evening of the 17th, early into the morning of June 18th, which is Tuesday. And also it's Cynthia and my birthday on the 18th. So we know it's going to be a good go live because the world would not do that to us. I just know it. So anyway, basically after we get the all clear from our installer, Aaron Sievers will be kind of running through our checklist, ensuring that our morning reports run the way that we're expecting them to run. There's an occasional delay in these reports starting, but generally speaking, we don't anticipate any downtime for library staff or the need to use offline mode the morning of June 18th. Unless, like, I know some catalogers start working at like 4:30 in the morning or something, but like, we'll give the all clear, so don't jump into Symphony the morning of. We'll send SWAN comes out well in advance to remind you of all of these things. But the morning of the 18th, do not log into workflows until you've received the all clear SWAN com. Again, we anticipate that coming out pretty early in the morning, at which point you can start your day as normal. As noted in the June 17th, that there will be a Workflows 4.1 installer posted to our support site. Update your staff workstations. The nice thing is you don't need to do the upgrade right before or immediately before you go live. If you're not all fully upgraded the morning of go live, it's not a problem. However, you will see a kind of client server mismatch error, which I have on the next slide. And then if you do run into any issues, just open a ticket. Please include as much detail as possible. So we are planning on posting the installation packages. I believe Monday is June 10th. The reason we kind of hold off on this is because of the kind of update message that you'll see. Essentially, if the workflows client doesn't match the version that's on the server, this message comes up every time you launch workflows, and it can be confusing for a lot of staff. So for that reason, we just say, it doesn't take that long to get installed. We do offer a silent MSI package. So if you are a larger library or have more machines that you need to push out, that MSI is perfect for group policy deployments or any other deployment methodology. With standard installer, of course, if you want to stick on a flash drive or on a shared drive in your library to just do the installations locally if you don't have as many library or computers that you need to touch. The installer, and to clarify a little bit, I know there's occasionally some confusion about the SWAN installer. Essentially, all we're doing is taking the workflows package that Cersei Dynix provides on our server. We download it off the server. We then put a coat of paint on it, change the icon, and make sure that the signature pad drivers are included. That's all we do. We basically just repackage it with a little extra. But there's nothing atypical to the actual installation process. However, we also set the package up to uninstall the current version 3.7.1 prior to installing 4.1. As always, the installation does require administrative privilege to install. So, your IT staff or contracted MSP or other administrator should be able to take care of that. It does not touch the actual user profiles. So system settings, printers, your preferences, your color schemes, fonts, etc. Those should all stay the same. Those won't be touched by the actual installer. The only caveat is any libraries who are using custom SIGPAD language, there's only 2 or 3 out there, so they should be familiar with this process. But if you've customized the language that just displays on your signature pad, that file is actually within the Cersei installer that will be overwritten upon installing the 4.1. So if you do have that, just make sure you make a backup of your signature of your language file after installation, replace the language file, everything should be good to go. Again, I mentioned you don't have to have your clients updated prior to go live on June 18th. Basically, if you don't have your client updated, you'll see this message as of June 18th, and any new features in 4.1 will simply be unavailable at that workstation until the client is updated. Otherwise, it will operate normally. So if there's delays getting things rolled out, it's not a big deal. Just be aware of the message, click OK, and the client will operate as usual. Conversely, if you are ready to go, and June 10th, we send the SwanCom saying that the installer is live, and you go and you push it out the next day, your staff will see this message every single time. So I would advise holding off until either day of or day before if you want to schedule a deployment. But just to kind of keep staff from asking questions about the update message, because they absolutely will, just kind of realize that you have a window for installation. It's not like the old Millennium days where if you didn't have the client updated day of go live, it wouldn't work. No issues like that. So again, don't really have anything on your end to do besides install the client when we have the package installed. Vicky just yelled at me for saying Millennium. I'm sorry, Vicky. I also did put a link in for SportsSite. I just dropped that in the chat. So that is the link that we will be using. It has our current documentation and all of that. Essentially, the new page is just staged, and we will be, replacing the current page on June 10th. We'll send a notice out when the installer is ready. As always, anybody encounters any issues or problems with the installer, please open a support ticket. We'll be kind of keeping extra close attention to any workflows tickets the week of and leading into the upgrade. So again, just a few weeks out. It did take a little bit to get this scheduled. We were hoping to have this done before Memorial Day, but it took a while for Cersei Dynix to get their installer scheduled. So, but yeah, we're just a few weeks out, ready to go, and it should be very smooth. So keep an eye on SwanCom. I will also say, if you have not taken the opportunity to change your workflows passwords, this is an excellent time to do so. Again, open a ticket, and Vicky or somebody else from the support team will be happy to assist. I think that takes care of it for me.
Sounds great. We're going to move into some project updates. I'm not seeing any questions about the upgrade, but certainly if you have questions, don't hesitate to ask follow-up, even if you want to save those to the end of the presentation today. So our first update is about Message Bee. I think, Scott, you're here, I
Yeah.
believe, to talk a little bit about some things that you learned with your last meeting with the folks at Unique Management.
Yeah, we have at this point monthly meetings with the folks at Unique just to get updated on what's going on in the Message Bee realm. There haven't been any massive changes that you will have seen over the past couple of months, but there are some things coming down the line. So as some of you may know, the statistics portal has been, well, I should say the MessageBee tool in its entirety is gradually being moved over to a new site. A new look, new feel, and a lot of the functionality is well, a lot easier to use, I say, in the new site. The new site is in beta, and so since I believe January, we've had access to the reporting portal on the beta site, and that's sort of stayed in beta since then. They, during this update, they told us more about their plans for moving over to the new site. So the next step for the statistics portal, at some point in the next couple of months, they're going to start using the new site officially. And so in the existing site, when you go to your reports and statistics section, it's going to automatically forward you to the new look. And so when we know that is actually coming down the line, we will make sure to let you know, just so you're not shocked by it. A lot of you are already using the new site, so it won't be very different. Some of you aren't yet. And we will, of course, update our documentation to make sure that everything is, matching what you can expect to see there. Everything that exists in the old site is available in the new site. It is a lot easier to use. So if you haven't already, we do encourage you to check out the beta portal. There's a link at the upper right of your MessageBee page to get you there. Then the other thing that they've been moving over is this list notification feature. So along the lines of that, they're also changing the name of it from list notifications to marketing, which makes it, I think, a little more clear about what the thing is all about. So the list notifications, if you're not familiar, are or I should say the marketing portal is the tool that allows you to create lists of patrons based on their sign up. They can sign up for your newsletter, they can sign up for interest lists, or send communications to patrons based on patron data, like upcoming card renewals or new signups to give them sort of that marketing campaign. Alongside this, I will tell you, they showed us the new portal. It is 100 times easier to use than the old portal was. We did do a demo of the old list notifications portal about a month, maybe 2 months ago at this point. And there was a little bit of interest. This new tool is a lot better. So once it's really finally up and running, and it's kind of halfway at this point, we are going to redo those demos to give you a sense of what the new site looks like, the new tool, and to see if there's any interest in if that renews any interest in that. And along that line as well, there was also some questions during our initial demo of the list notifications portal, the marketing portal, about unsubscribe options. In particular, was a concern for a couple of you that there was no way to just sort of click a button and unsubscribe for your patrons to do that. That has been incorporated as well, so they are listening to us. We brought that to them, and they came through. So yeah, keep your ear to the ground if you are interested in checking out the new tool. Hopefully, I can't tell you a date yet when that's going to be ready, but hopefully within the next few months. And also, finally, there is a user management module that they are working on in the new site. So once that is up and running, we're going to do some testing on it to see if that's something we can turn on for everyone. So at the moment, you all have 2 logins to the MessageBee portal. One that does everything, that allows you to edit your notification templates and see the reports. And there's the other login, which only allows you to see reports, and the login login information is currently on the shared directors portal in our support site. And so and then that doesn't necessarily get updated. If you do have to update your password, of course, we don't necessarily know that happens. So that leaves the possibility for the support site portal to be then out of date. This user management module may be a way around that. We won't have to worry about maintaining your users for you. You can set up whatever users you need in your library with whatever level of permissions you need for the MessageBee portal. So we'll be looking at that soon as well, to make things a little easier on everyone, hopefully. So nothing new yet, but definitely some cool things coming down the line on this new site. And that's it.
Yeah, this all sounds great. I agree with you. The unsubscribe from the marketing, I think, was a barrier for a lot of our libraries kind of moving forward with this. So
yeah,
it'd be good to see that. All right, so moving forward here, we are going to be doing some changes to the Symphony hold map, and we're going to do our best to explain it all because holds in SWAN can be rather complex. So Sam, you're going to give us the update on this, correct?
Yes, correct.
All right, take it away.
And I will do my best to explain as clearly as possible. So we just want to describe and share with you an update that we will be making to our hold map consortium wide on July 16th. And the reason we are doing this is to correct a loophole that rarely occurred, but it did impact patron holds. So it was important to identify it, to find a way to fix it, and we made that a priority. So to give a little background about holds in the hold map, it runs on station library. So that means the library where the hold is placed is a station library, and so therefore the station library is really important. So the loophole that we're describing here that we're correcting on July 16th is broken down in that second bullet there. And I'm going to walk through it bit by bit. So if your user placed a hold at a station library other than yours, so it's your user, but the station library is not your library. And by that, I mean, it could be the Aspen instance that is not your library's, or it could be staff logged into a different library's workflows. So that's the station library other than yours explanation. So if the user placed a hold at that in one of those station library scenarios, and the item type was restricted in the hold map to your users only, then even though it is your user and your item that is restricted, the item would not fill that patron hold until it was no longer restricted. So I know let's follow that. But so this typically affected new items because those are the most commonly restricted in SWAN. Those are usually the ones where we see make book new holdable to my users only, for example. So you may not have even noticed that this was happening because, as I said, it has always been there, but it is pretty rare. We were seeing an uptick in it with Aspen, I think, just because all of the traffic and how certain links may be directing to different, like the general Aspen instance, for example. So we were seeing it happen slightly more. And so in this scenario explained in that bullet, because the patron placed a hold at a library that it's other than yours, they wouldn't receive your library's copy of that material while the item type was still new. So what would happen is that hold would still be there in the queue, and other library items that weren't restricted would probably be filling that, but your item wouldn't until it was no longer marked new, if that makes sense. So we did discover a way to correct this problem, which is really exciting, and that's what we want to share with you. We basically found a way to eliminate the importance of that station library in this specific scenario. So any item types that you have holdable to your users only, they'll continue to be set that way. That won't change, but where the hold is placed is no longer a factor. So we tested this with one library. We had great success. There was nobody noticed anything, which is exactly what we wanted to happen because it just means things seamlessly were fixed. And so now we're going to roll it out to the entire consortium. That's what will occur on July 16th. Libraries don't need to do anything. And really, just like with the test library, you shouldn't notice any change. It should just be seamless. Your hold should just work exactly as you expected. And the ones that were falling through these cracks in these kind of odd loophole scenarios just won't fall through the cracks anymore. So, yep, we will be doing that on July 16th. And now your users can place holds on your restricted item types anywhere, and holds will just fill as expected. Does anyone have any questions?
I'm not seeing any questions. There is some chat going on about the installer, so glad to see that happening. Thanks, Sam. We'll move forward
Great.
with our next topic here. Single sign-on. I believe, Dave, you're going to be updating everyone on what this is about.
I am indeed. Hello, everyone. So Ping 1 single sign-on is continuing to roll along. This is where we'll have one unified login that'll give you access to a number of different services. One of the things that's required for single sign-on to work is you need to have sort of an authoritative database of user records that the single sign-on service can point to and say, okay, yes, this is a legitimate user. Fortunately, we have one in place already, the L2 database maintained by Rails. So the first step was getting Ping 1 to connect to the L2 database and be able to use that. The Rails IT staff were very generous with their time. As happens with these things, it did not go as smoothly as we had all hoped. But we did eventually get there, thanks especially to Wayne Dixon from Rails, who put a lot of time into getting this working. So the L2 integration piece is solved at this point, and now we can move on to integrating some of the services that we want to roll into this. The community forums is one of those, and I am working on that. And like the L2 integration, it's not going as smoothly as I would have liked. But I'm confident that we'll get there with the community forums. The Inquisic online learning system is kind of just underway. Circe Dynix Blue Cloud here. This means Blue Cloud circulation, Blue Cloud acquisitions, and Blue Cloud cataloging. It does not include analytics. We just got an email from our Circe Dynix consultant this morning assuring us that they are still working with this. To get it integrated with Ping 1. And we're pretty confident here because Blue Cloud Central is the one thing that we did have integrated with SSO in the past. That was only for SWAN staff at the time, but the proof of concept is there. And then finally, our new ticketing system, we're hoping to be able to integrate that as well. OTRS, our current ticket system does have a library login. It's not used as much since it's pretty easy to just send an email to help@swanlibraries.net. But I think we're anticipating that the new ticket system may have more features that you want to log in and take advantage of. So that's where single sign-on is at the moment. We're kind of in the thick of things. Some things are still in flux, but it's moving along, and I think we're all pretty satisfied with the progress. More updates to come.
Thanks, Dave. Yeah, the single sign-on should make our library staff lives a little bit easier. Hopefully, once we get all that in place, it's a fairly technical project, so we just want to keep you updated as we're going along. The other big news is that our SWAN Expo, which is our annual summer event, this year will be held on August 23rd. Today is the opening day for registration. We have the URL posted here. We're still working on the full session schedule, which will include like the sequence of events for the day. So, but we wanted to make sure that we got registration going right after Memorial Day. We do have workshops and presentations planned, such as an overview of what Aspen Discovery can do for library staff. We want to present an update for everyone. There's a lot of people that attend Expo that may not be familiar with even some of the most important functions of Aspen, such as masquerade mode. We'll also be doing some workshops on Blue Cloud Analytics, and then some work with power searching in Symfony. But we also have a number of other sessions planned with library staff and SWAN staff coming together to talk about circulation best practices, collection management, particularly around the idea of like weeding and storage, or your library going through a renovation, and how do you handle your collection under those scenarios. We're also going to be trying to make sure we get word out about mobile staff, which is a tablet-based application that many of you use. It used to be called Mobile Circ. We're going to show some ways of maybe making mobile staff a little bit easier to use. We definitely picked up in the survey that we did with our membership on the platform that mobile staff was a frustrating area for folks. So we want to provide some like tips and tricks on how to make it a little bit better to use, easily used. And then we have some other topics listed here, including some roundtables. We had some success last year with group discussion on some topics. So we have several here listed for mindfulness and self-care, staff development and team building, and difficult service scenarios. These were things that we picked up on as topics from last month's Fireside. It was clear that the roundtables aren't always going to be things like technical or platform related in SWAN, but if you're getting together and you have these topics set out in advance, we'll have staff that will act as kind of hosts for those meetings and have questions to get discussion going. So make sure to sign up. Here's the page. It's all done on our support site. We don't invoice our libraries up until after the event. Registrations usually open all the way up until the week before. You get to select your lunch during registration, and we look forward to seeing you. All right, we're going to update everyone on Aspen, and Tara, I believe you're going to talk about this record grouping change.
Yeah, we've got a couple of updates in Aspen as of the last release, and then a few that were made as part of our Discovery and User Experience Advisory meeting. So I'll go over those. We have updates to our record grouping logic, as Erin described. We should now see basically the too long don't read version as video games and other materials should now group better. And also graphic novels, manga, and comics will group separately from books. This has been a change that's been in the works for a very long time. And so we're happy to see that change. So hopefully you should see some better results for your video games and also your graphic novels and comics. We've also enabled Polish translations in Aspen. So you should see those. They went live quietly just before the Memorial Day weekend. I will note there you might find some places in the interface that aren't translated. So it's not as complete of a translation as the Spanish translation that we've got. But a good chunk of that interface is translated, which is really exciting. And we want to give a big thanks to Kate at Bywater Solutions. If you're not familiar, we work with Bywater Solutions for Aspen development, and Kate did all of those Polish translations. So thank you so much for getting those to our patrons. And then finally, there is a new Novelist Select display. It is live as of this morning. And this is just an update to how our Novelist Select integration that SWAN subscribes to for the catalog, just how that looks in the catalog. So you'll see the books within a series, similar titles, similar authors. And I just want to note, this does not impact Novelist Plus or Novelist K through 8. This is just the Novelist Select. They're all kind of named similarly, but Novelist Select is just that integration into the catalog.
Excellent. Happy to see this update. All right, ready to talk about e-resources, and we do have some news. We're not trying to preempt any big announcement, but Olivia is going to join us here, and we're going to talk a little bit about what we've learned, what's going on with the State Library e-resource program, which, if you're not familiar with, the Illinois State Library under the Secretary of State had an RFP for statewide resources. And Olivia, I think we can say that we know publicly EBSCO was selected.
Yes, that is correct. You can see on this particular slide that little screenshot, the notice of award form. This is publicly available under the bid solicitation. And we could see right there that EBSCO Information Services was selected as the provider for this package that's going to be available to everybody throughout the state of Illinois. There's a lot of unknowns. First of all, the state library has not publicly announced any list of databases that are going to be included. We can only kind of guess right now. Also within EBSCO, a lot of those databases are kind of built upon each other, like there's several versions of a database. So we're still not sure what the state ultimately has picked for their list. But we do think that there is going to be some overlap in content with our package B SWAN Rails deal that we currently have. So right now we have 84 participating libraries in this deal. We know this, we've been in the renewal period for quite some time. I recently just got all of your selections, and then now we're kind of getting this news that EBSCO has actually been awarded the statewide, to administer this, to provide this database package to the entire state. So there's still a lot of unknowns. Again, we think that there's going to be overlap in content. And right now, we're currently doing a couple of things. One, we're waiting for the state to formally announce the list of databases that are going to be included in this package. We expect it to be a pretty robust, full list of databases, full text databases that are going to be available. And two, we don't know when those databases will be available for libraries or for the public to access. We are in our current renewal period with EBSCO. We are sort of at that point where we've made our selections for the upcoming year. And I have been in talks several times a week with the folks over at Rails. And we've met with EBSCO a couple of times. And what we're trying to do is find or create a package that makes sense for our SWAN members moving forward. We don't know what that's going to include at this point. It's really hard to make those decisions when we do not know what the state has obtained. And along with that, until they make that announcement, EBSCO cannot share those details with us either. So there's a lot of unknowns with that. If we go to the next slide, we could just kind of see where we're at. So our selection form closed. I got everyone's selections for this package. I have shared that information with our Rails contact. That's Layla Heath over at Rails. And she is also in talks with EBSCO as well. So again, if we were to move forward with this current package, those links are going to be live July 1st. If you've made any updates or changes to your database selections, and these are those 4 optional databases that are included in that package. And I think we're just going to have to wait and see how soon the state either makes that announcement, and when they make that announcement, when they expect those databases to be live for the public to access. Because of course, we don't want anybody to lose anything in the meantime during this transition period. So I expect that there's going to be a lot of questions, if not in this fireside chat. If you think of things afterwards, certainly open a ticket to our support, and we will do our best to answer those questions. I expect in the coming weeks, we're going to have many more meetings with both Rails and EBSCO to try to, see if something makes sense moving forward. And hopefully the state makes that announcement sometime soon. We do know that it can be a very long process, that they've got to tidy up everything and just make sure everything is very neat and clean before their announcement.
Yes, thanks, Olivia. My guess is that they're working on a contract. It's probably just going to take some time because it's going through state procurement. That said, I just want to note here, the way this works is normally SWAN would start invoicing libraries in July for this renewal. But with this announcement and us sort of waiting to hear what's happening at the state level and its start date, I'm going to hold off on invoicing any libraries until we have full instructions from the state library. So if you're wondering about that, or if you're a director here or staff that want to pass on this news to others in your library, make sure to let them know that we're not going to do this. That said, if EBSCO starts billing Rails and then Rails turns around and sends SWAN this very large invoice, we'll have to figure out what to do, and I'll discuss this with the SWAN board about any sort of moving forward or delay. But we have a good contact with Rails in terms of discussing this, and EBSCO's also in talks with us. So we should be ready to move fairly quickly once we see the announcement and have everything complete. So, and let's move on from here. I'm not seeing any questions. Comics Plus, I should say.
Yeah, so we've got Comics Plus. We kind of can't forget about Comics Plus. Most of the subscribing Comics Plus libraries have already reached out or have reached out directly to Library Pass regarding their renewal information. So I am taking any sort of renewal information and moving that forward. There's a couple of links on this slide here. So we have the intent to renew form. That's if you are a current Comics Plus subscribing library and you are set to expire on June 30th. You have probably already received numerous messages from Library Pass already. So definitely feel free to fill out that form. On that form includes whether you wish to renew or not. So it could be as simple as saying if you're not interested in moving forward in the next year with it, you can simply state that on that form. Also, we have negotiated with the Library Pass team for the upcoming year. So if you are not a current subscriber to Comics Plus and you are interested in that, that link for the SWAN group discounts for e-resources, there contains pricing for a new library to join and currently subscribe to Comics Plus. So that information is available. And just to kind of as an FYI, that new library pricing is, excuse me, I can't talk right now. New library pricing is set to expire on June 30th. So the pricing that you see on that on our support site is set to expire on June 30th of this year. So if you are interested and this is something that you wish to pursue, we think that this is the time to do it. Take advantage of it while you can. It's a pretty nice discount that we currently have, and we after June 30th, we don't know where that will stand. So that's just sort of an insight to Comics Plus here.
Yeah, Olivia's being very diplomatic here. We don't think that that discount is going to be offered at the level it is currently. So this is kind of our last push for you all if you want to get in on it or you've been sitting on the fence. Definitely take a look at the pricing. All right, ready to talk about resource sharing. Helen
Yes, good
Pinder, I
morning.
think you're here, right?
I am. Can you hear me okay?
Yes, I'm great.
Okay, good. Yeah, good morning, everybody. I just wanted to very briefly extend an offer to everybody to schedule a WorldShare ILL audit. I recently discovered that not everybody in SWAN is using the SWAN recommended best practices for processing your in-state and out-of-state interlibrary loans. And that means that we are not able to pull your statistics as cleanly and effectively as we otherwise would have. So I dropped a link in the chat. Please reach out to me and schedule a time where we can meet one-on-one via Zoom just for 30 minutes or so. We'll go through, check your practices, make sure they're up to our standards, and explore some opportunities for process improvements, review and clean up some user accounts. And while I'm digging around in there, we can customize some deflections and do some other fun tinkery sorts of things. So yeah, schedule some time with me. I hope to hear from you all, and I hope to see you next week, June 5th, for ILL users.
Thanks, Helen.
Thank you.
All right, so we're gonna go through some of our recent user groups that have met and have a recap. So some of the staff that here at SWAN that are involved in those are gonna provide some updates. So Acquisition Cataloging Users Group did have a meeting. I think, Sam, you're here to give us an update. Or is that Vicky?
It's Vicky.
Yeah, there you go.
Good morning, SWAN Libraries. Let's talk about some acquisitions and cataloging users group. Our fantastic co-chairs, Susanna Leyva from the Palos Heights Public Library and Mary Kelly Marquez from Warrenville, put together a great meeting for us, and what we discussed at that meeting, excuse me, what we discussed at that meeting was first Mary Kelly gave us a great synopsis of what happened at the Laconia Technical Services Section Acquisitions Roundup. Whew, that's a long that's a long title for that. She did let us know that Ingram gave just a little bit about what's happening with them. They are offering a new leasing program, and they even have now a print on demand feature that will print 75,000 to 100,000 books a day. So if you're really looking for a title, they might be able to help you with that. And they do have kind of a premium service that their selection, it'll be coming soon. It's called iCurate. They're promoting it as a $2,100 value, but it's free and it's powered by actual librarians. And then that service would ship standing orders on the first of each month for adult, teen, and youth. Midwest Tape had some news as well. They are committing to providing physical and AV media. So if you're worried about not being able to find those physical CDs and or DVDs or Blu-rays, they are committed to continue offering them to libraries. And they did mention that they have real people customer service agents. And of course, we do know, as some of our libraries are taking advantage of, they are offering electronic EDI ordering, invoicing, and what they're calling seamless order/data integration. So if you are not currently using Midwest Tape as an EDI order vendor, you can definitely get in touch with them, and in between them and SWAN staff will be able to get you up and running with that. And they do offer also a return program that offers free replacements of cases, artwork, and materials for up to 1 year. And then, also coming soon, MikeHeart is going to offer live streaming TV. So the other vendors that were discussed there were Children's Plus. The big news from them is in August of this year, they are going to be undergoing a rebranding, and they will now be Libraria. Not sure what's behind that, but they also are EDI compatible with QuickClick, and they have collection development service, monthly seasonal lists, and they do also offer processing as well. Brodart announced that they are partnering now with Library IQ. So if you're looking for another vendor that may help you with some collection management decisions, they might be able to help you with that. And then Baker and Taylor, Kurt Leppert, who has been our longtime Illinois representative for our libraries for Baker and Taylor, he thanked attendees for their patience through some of the shortcomings that they had through COVID and their 2 cyber attacks. And he announced that Baker and Taylor has partnered with Library Ideas, and they will be the exclusive publisher of Vox books. We've been seeing some popularity in those within the SWAN libraries. So they have over 700 titles with a 12% discounts through June 30th of this year. Not sure if they'll be doing anything else with that discount after the 30th, but you can reach out to Baker and Taylor about that. And their unprocessed Vox books began shipping on the 15th of this month. And if you want them pre-processed, they will start shipping on June 1st. So thanks to Mary Kelly for giving us that update. We did also discuss order cards. This was a topic that came up for the group in the SWAN forums. We had someone asking if libraries are still using order cards. And if you are, if you're not using the order cards, what kind of methods are you using? And our libraries did reply with various different methods that they're doing. I not sure that we had anyone who said that they are still using order cards, but some of our libraries are using spreadsheets or the printing of their order carts. CART, C-A-R-T, not cards. And then other libraries have just stopped using anything at all, and they're just relying on the information that they have, whether within Symphony, excuse me, Symphony acquisitions, or even from their vendors. So we did also have an update on what you should be including in your brief record and on-the-fly item creation. Just some great tip that you should probably use that add brief title wizard rather than the helper in the charge checkout wizard. That does allow you to add that call number into the item. And I am going to pass off now to Cynthia, who's going to talk to you about the other two topics that were brought up in the meeting.
Hello, everyone. I hope you are having a great day so far. Some of the stuff that Claudia briefly just sent out a couple of reminders and expectations. Any new pre-cats, you should be performing an ISBN, UPC, and a title search before adding a new pre-cat. We're asking that if you do see a duplicate record anywhere in the system, whether you're a cataloging library or a pre-cat library, to please send us a report or a ticket to SWAN so we can merge them. And if it's at all possible, wait until you're done with your day so that and have a good listing of these duplicates that you come across, so that you're not sending like multiple tickets all at one time. But if that's not possible, that's fine. But we're asking if you can kind of do that at the end of the day. Also, to please make sure that your pre-cats have the required mark tags of the 020 or 024 if necessary, the 100, the 245, the 250, 264, the 300, 590 if applicable, the 946 and the 977. All this is in the documentation on the website. So if you come across it, I'll put that in the chat. Here's the pre-cat stuff. You know, I know I said that a little fast, but it's all listed on the website for our pre-cat documentation as well. Another reminder for pre-cats is also to review when to input a new record. We also have this on our website as well, because we're seeing an uptick in duplication of records. And sometimes this is just related to not doing that additional title search for a record. The other reminder for us is, for everyone, is SWAN templates. So when you're duplicating one of our SWAN templates for creating a pre-cat, to be careful not to overwrite them. We've had a lot of templates that are getting overwritten by people's trying to do a pre-cat. And so we're trying to allow these templates just to be available for everyone. So if you accidentally overwrite one, please let us know by sending in a ticket. Another thing that's that we need to add is an 007 for vinyl records, because this way then Aspen will display them as a vinyl record. And finally, for the new self-paced course, Claudia created a new non-English language material self-paced course. So, and she also updated the website with the documentation. So if you are, whether you're a pre-cataloging library or a cataloging library, I recommend checking them both out. I will put that link to that materials in there in the chat for you all. And I think that is all I have. So their next meeting is September 12th, 2024 at 9:30. So please join us.
And really quickly, we did not talk about the SWAN support site revamp because Sam will be talking about that in just a little bit here in Fireside.
Thanks, everyone. Our Ducks group, which is short for the Discovery User Experience Group, also met. And I think we have an update here. I think that's from Tara, right?
Yes, I'll keep it short and sweet. The group discussed the new novelist look display and agreed to enable that. We'll be running some statistics and analysis of that as it's running over the next couple of months. We also reviewed the suggestions and comments from the SWAN platform survey. We had a lot of very specific comments around Aspen and Lita, requests from folks, the changes they wanted to see. So we discussed things like a library facet, which is now enabled in your catalogs, that will allow you to filter to the owning library. We also discussed a couple libraries playing around with the idea of defaulting search within the library on OPAC computers to filter to materials in that library. That would just be that little tab that's across the top for your library. So we've got one library that's volunteered to give that a roll and see how it goes. And we also discussed what options there might be for looking at settings for nearest libraries, like maybe ordering the holds lists when you select where to pick up your hold for libraries nearby, moving those to the top. And then we also discussed how to add an advanced search link to your library menus. We've got some documentation on that I can plop in the chat, but essentially you have the ability to add any links to your catalog menus, and if you choose to make the advanced search a little more prominent, you could also add a link for that. And that is Ducks in a nutshell.
Thanks, Tara. Moving on, we have an update on trainings and some of the other upcoming meetings we have. So some of the new trainings we have is shared here. Sam Dietl is going to talk about the Circulation Mentor Program.
Hi again. Yeah, I just wanted to make a quick plug for the Circ Mentor program. We've been doing this for, I believe, about a year and a half. So if you're unfamiliar with this, SWAN will help pair new or new-ish Circ managers with a mentor to help answer questions and guide through acclimating to the new job and the consortium in general and all that good stuff. So the questions here, if you are are you a newish circulation manager? Do you wish you had someone to talk to and bounce ideas off of and generally use as a helpful resource? Be like that Kool-Aid man and please send in a ticket. And then I also can talk a little bit about the updated documentation. Vicki mentioned earlier that this is the SWAN support site revamp kind of bit that they didn't mention before. So as we've said before, we've been doing a general SWAN support site revamp of the whole site, and we recently did some configuration pages. So highlighted here, we have item configuration, some of the updates that we made there. If you haven't looked at those pages in a while, just take a look. We did add some elaboration about what each policy type means. So what are item types? What do they really do? What are item categories? How can you use them? Locations, default price policy, and all of that good stuff. We also removed some information that was duplicated elsewhere to make things more concise and linked to that in the related documentation. And that includes the second link there where you see item types. We did add some best practices that the Circulation Advisory Group helped us work on and build during an activity that they participated in. So take a look at those links, and if you have questions, send in a ticket.
Thank you, Sam. We do have a quarterly meeting. This is for a meeting we have where library directors or library administrators that are members of SWAN. We will be meeting at Oak Brook Public Library. We do have some topics that we want to cover, some of which we touched on today. We're hoping that by June 6th, when we meet, we'll maybe have a little bit more to share about the statewide subscription databases. But there was also some recent discussion, I will say, amongst library directors about potential public libraries being challenged for website accessibility issues. This is for persons that maybe have visual impairment and the library website maybe is not compliant with certain web standards. We're going to touch on that. SWAN's been doing a little digging into this because we want to make sure our Aspen catalog is from an accessibility standpoint is meeting the standards. So we'll talk about that. We have completed that platform survey analysis. We'll touch on that also at the meeting next week. And I'll have an update. SWAN is going to be moving its headquarters, downsizing our office that we've been in for 7 years in Westmont. We'll be heading over nearby to Oak Brook. We'll have more to share about that. So this concludes our Fireside for today. The next one will be on the 25th of June. You can check out L2 for more details on the registration. I'm going to stop our recording, but thanks everyone for joining. Hang out if you want to ask questions or pose any more questions in the chat. And I'll stop the recording now.